Inside a large house in Vietnam, 6 members of the same family were found dead. Their hands were tied, and their throats had been cut. There were no signs of forced entry, and the house showed no disturbance. Neighbors said they had heard no screams or unusual noise during the night. At first, police believed it was a robbery gone wrong. But as the investigation progressed, they discovered the killings were planned by someone the family had once trusted, driven by revenge and wounded ego. The Leif family was living in Minh Hieng Commune in Bình Phước province, southern Vietnam. They were known in the area as a financially stable and hardworking family that owned a successful wood processing business. The head of the family, Lee Van Mee, aged 48, had built his business over many years and was respected locally for his discipline and work ethic. He lived in a large house with his wife, Gwen Lê T. An Na, aged 42, their 22-year-old daughter, Lê Tin An Lin, their young son, Lê Quoc An, aged 15, and their 18-month-old youngest daughter. Also staying with them were Na's niece, Du Ngoc Tan Naiu, aged 17, and another young relative, Du Minh V, aged 14, who was staying in the house at the time of the crime. From the outside, the family's life appeared structured and routine. Their days were shaped by business responsibilities, education, and household duties. Neighbors described them as private but respectful, with no visible signs of serious conflict that could suggest they would later become the victims of such a violent and planned attack. On the night of July 6, 2015, the household followed its usual routine. After finishing their daily work and responsibilities, the family went to sleep. The surrounding area remained quiet, and nothing unusual was reported by neighbors. There were no visible disturbances, and the night passed without drawing attention. At around 7 o'clock in the morning on July 7, 2015, the family's housemaid, Don T. Cam Luan, arrived at the Lê family's house to begin her daily work. As she entered the ground floor, she found Lê Van Mee, his wife Gwen Lê T. An Na, and their teenage son Lê Quoc An lying motionless in the living room. Shocked by the scene, she ran upstairs to check the rest of the house. On the second floor, she discovered 2 more victims, Lê T. An Lin, the couple's adult daughter, and their relative Du Ngoc Tan Naiu inside a bedroom. She rushed outside and called for help. Neighbors soon gathered at the house, and local authorities were informed. When police arrived and searched the surrounding area, they later found another victim, Du Minh V, near the gate of the property. Inside the house, officers also discovered the family's 18-month-old youngest daughter alive. She had survived the attack and became the only member of the household left unharmed. After confirming the deaths, police sealed off the Lê family's house and secured the scene. They documented the positions of the victims and collected blood samples, fingerprints, and footprints. Investigators noted that the victims had been tied before being killed, indicating the crime was planned rather than sudden. They also did not find any clear physical evidence inside the house, such as a murder weapon. The scale and brutality of the killings shocked the entire country. News of the massacre spread rapidly across Vietnam, creating widespread fear and intense public attention. Police interviewed neighbors and nearby workers, most of whom reported hearing no screams or unusual disturbances. There were no signs of forced entry, and no significant high-value items were reported missing from the house. These factors led investigators to move away from the initial theory of robbery. Police then focused on the family's personal and business connections, reviewing phone records and examining surveillance footage from nearby roads. While the CCTV did not clearly identify the attackers, it helped confirm movements and narrow the timeline of the crime. In the following days, investigators began narrowing their attention to individuals who had direct personal links to the family. One key line of inquiry involved a 24-year-old man, Nguyen Hai Duong, who had previously been in a relationship with one of the daughters, Lê Tian Linh. Duong had also earlier worked at Lê Van Mee's Wood Company, which meant he was familiar with the family's routines, the layout of the house, and its security patterns. As officers compared phone location data, witness accounts, and physical evidence from the crime scene, this connection gradually became a significant lead. On July 10, 2015, police arrested Nguyen Hai Duong for questioning. The investigation moved at an unusually fast pace. Within just 3 days of the murders, police were able to identify and arrest the main suspect, an outcome considered rare in such complex cases. During interrogation, he confessed to his involvement in the killings and stated that he had carried out the attack with the help of his friend, Vu Van Tien, aged 24. He also revealed the name of Tran Dinh Thoai, aged 27, who had known about the plan and assisted in its preparation, though he did not take part in the murders. Investigators later confirmed through questioning and supporting evidence that Duong and Tien had entered the house during the night, when the family was asleep. Duong was familiar with the family and the layout of the property. Once inside, they restrained the victims one by one, using surprise and control to prevent resistance. The killings were carried out using knives, with fatal throat wounds inflicted on each victim. Du Minh V, whose body was found near the entrance area of the property, was attacked and killed outside the main living space. This quiet and systematic method allowed them to move through the house without alerting others before leaving the scene in the early hours of the morning. During interrogation, investigators learned that Duong had attempted to carry out the attack on an earlier night, but abandoned the plan due to fear and hesitation. After the arrests, police reconstructed the crime at the house to verify the suspect's statements. Duong and Tien reenacted the sequence of events, including how they entered the house, how they took control of the victims, and how they killed them. Police retraced their movements and recovered items taken from the house, as well as the weapons used in the killings, after Tien led them to the location where he had hidden them. Authorities concluded that the motive was personal resentment and a wounded ego. Following the end of Duong's relationship with Lê Tian Linh, the family's disapproval of that relationship, and an intention to take money from the family's business. Although some valuables were taken, investigators determined that financial gain was not the main motive behind the killings. The case was later brought before the court. The trial was conducted as a mobile courtroom session in Bình Phước province, reflecting the scale of public attention the case had generated. Approximately 4,000 people attended the open-air proceeding, including local residents and relatives of the victims. More than 100 reporters were present, while around 400 security personnel were deployed to maintain order and ensure safety throughout the hearing. The trial was emotionally difficult for the victims' relatives, and many were visibly distressed during the proceedings. Prosecutors presented forensic findings, the suspect's confessions. After reviewing the evidence, the court found Nguyen Hai Duong and Vu Van Tien guilty of multiple counts of murder and related charges. Both were sentenced to death, while another individual who had assisted in the planning, Tran Dinh Thoai, was given a 16 years prison sentence. Following the sentencing, Duong's defense lawyer, Han Kim Vin, said that, throughout his time with Duong in detention, he had never seen him cry, describing his manner as calm even when recounting the murders. In his final words before the court, Duong apologized to the victims' families for the suffering he had caused. The death sentence of Nguyen Hai Duong was later reported to have been carried out in 2017, bringing legal closure to one of Vietnam's most disturbing murder cases. The Binh Phuoc family massacre became a reminder of how wounded ego, possessiveness, and poor emotional control can lead to irreversible consequences, as emotional resentment gradually turned into a planned act of extreme violence. In the aftermath, The family's 18-month-old daughter was left to grow up without her parents and loved ones, becoming a silent symbol of how one person's actions can destroy an entire family. If you found this case meaningful, like and subscribe for more true crime stories. Thanks for watching.